Hello, well, welcome. Just to let you know, what you see in the back here, this was part of his idea. Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that the background I chose is connected to the speaker that we're going to hear. And his name is Theaster Gates. There's a quote here about his neighborhood, I believe. It was dirt, it was nothing, it was nowhere. And so we just started imagining what else could happen in this building. So a building in his neighborhood. Anyways, you will see more about what I'm talking about during the parts of his TED Talk. And I just wanted to also let you guys know that I think I'm going to start with this. When I have the TED Talks, and I think I did this the last time we had TED Talk, I'm not going to turn on my video. When the first TED Talk begins, I'm going to turn my video off. I know it's still choppy and such. So another thing I'm going to do is make these videos that you watch available in the class folder. But yeah, and I'm going to turn my video back on at the end or near the end when I know that there are no more videos to watch. So as soon as the first part of the first TED Talk starts, that's when my Zoom video will go off. Okay, enough talking about that. I just wanted to make it clear before we begin. So on that, let's begin. All right, so in this unit, you will describe neighborhoods. Part of your speaking, if you will be about what kind of neighborhoods would you like, and also talking about the good and the bad about where you live. Now, I just want to be clear here because I've heard students make mistakes here. Okay, neighbor, N-E-I-G-H-B-O-R, that is the person who lives near you, or neighbors, the people who live near you or in your area. Neighborhood is the area where you live. Because I've had students say, oh, my neighborhoods are really nice. They always say hello. And okay, so just so you know, they always say hello. They're really nice. Those are your neighbors and who live in your neighborhood. Okay, I just wanted to be clear about that, and I will remind you again during Zoom class. All right, so describe neighborhoods, read about someone who is using art to improve neighborhoods, and watch a TED Talk about making positive changes in a neighborhood. And that would be Theaster Gates. This is part of what he did. All right, so in the unit, you see this photo, young children playing in the colorful streets of Las Peñas, Ecuador. Okay, not in the book is a better photo of Las Peñas, and it looks like this. As you can see, colorful, yeah. Nice idea, okay. All right. Here we go. Watch part of Theaster Gates' TED Talk, answer the questions with a partner. What do you think Gates did with the building? Does the neighborhood have many empty or old buildings? Okay, so the answers, of course, here will vary, and the answers, of course, here will vary. Now it says here, watch part of Theaster Gates' TED Talk. We are not going to watch it because if we do, we're going to go over the 30 minutes that I'm supposed to do. So right now, we're going to work on vocabulary. Okay, so here we have vocabulary. We have 2 words. One word goes with the other word. So what you have to do is match the word in each set. So for example, clean streets, right? So think of this as, well, don't think of it as, it is talking about neighborhoods. Neighborhoods, cities, towns, like I really like my neighborhood. It has clean streets, like that. Anyways, as usual, before I go and show you the answers, pause the video for as much time as you need now. Okay, you have unpaused the video and you are ready to check your answers about cities, towns, neighborhoods, however you want to think of it in all right, here we go. We have clean streets, affordable housing, heavy traffic, friendly neighbors, low crime rate, green space, reliable public transportation, and vacant buildings. All right, so just so you know, most of these I'm pretty sure you already know what they mean, but affordable means if something is affordable, it means you have enough money to buy it. Vacant means empty. Anything else, you can look it up or you can wait and ask me, but I'll leave this up for just a second, or if you need to take a screenshot. All right, and 3, 2, 1. Now we're gonna get into the TED Talk. All right, so how to revive a neighborhood. Now this is previewing, so we're not going to watch the video. It's more, what do you think? From what you've read here and all of this, what do you think, right? So let me read. Theaster Gates decided to tackle his Chicago neighborhoods problems by reshaping and reimagining abandoned buildings. His idea worth spreading is that art can be a force for social change, bringing new life to buildings, neighborhoods, and entire cities. So just to be clear here, I'm going to read from the book. Previewing before watching. Read the paragraph above. Choose the correct meaning of each bold word. You will hear these words in the TED Talk. So when you tackle a problem, what do you do? To reshape something means what? An abandoned building is one that the owner, what did the owner do? All right. Of course, I'm not going to show you the answers yet. You can pause the video for as long as you need now. All right, normally previewing is asking what do you think, but in this case, do you know what these words mean? So let's check your answers in All right, so when you tackle a problem, you deal with it. To reshape something means to change the structure of it. An abandoned building is one that the owner left. It's abandoned, nobody's in there. All right, so for the next slide, we are going to get into the TED Talk. So you will hear my voice, but you won't see me. So let me turn my video off and then go to the next slide. All right, you can still hear me. I know you can. So here we go. Starting with the first part, as usual, you can always go in the back of the book and read along. But the first part, it's pretty easy. You just have to circle one of these. After watching this, what problem in his neighborhood does Gates talk about? Let's listen and watch.
The neighborhood that I live in is Grand Crossing. It's a neighborhood that has seen better days. It is not a gated community by far. There's lots of abandonment in my neighborhood. And while I was kind of busy making pots and busy making art and having a good art career, there was all of this stuff that was happening just outside my studio. But I think a lot of our US cities and beyond have the challenge of blight, abandoned buildings that people no longer know what to do anything with. And so I thought, is there a way that I could start to think about these buildings as an extension or an expansion of my artistic practice? And that if I was thinking along with other creatives, architects, engineers, real estate finance people, that us together might be able to kind of think in more complicated ways about the reshaping of cities.
Right, so as usual, I'm going to give you time, but this one I know is pretty easy. You only have to circle one of them, but for those of you who need time, you can pause the video for as long as you need now. All right, welcome back. We are going to check your answer in. All right, now I'm showing you the whole page here because after A, we're going to watch the video for B. But of course, he didn't say this, but he did say something that means the same thing. He talked about abandoned buildings, and I did say to you, abandoned buildings mean empty, nobody. And another word for empty is also vacant. So if the building has been abandoned, you can also say that it's vacant. Before I go on, just so you know, vacant is not always a bad thing. If there are 1 or 2 rooms available for rent, the landlord would put up a sign saying, you know, vacancy, meaning you can ask to look at and maybe rent the 1 or 2 room. All right, you're going to watch part 2. You're going to put the events in the order that they happen. You don't have to write. As you can see, the spaces in your book, or the box, if you will, they're just big enough to put letters in. That's it. You know, A, B, C, D, E, F. All right. So the first thing he did was he bought a building. So what did he do next? And what did he do after that? And so on. So let's watch.
So I bought a building. The building was really affordable. We tricked it out. We made it as beautiful as we could to try to just get some activity happening on my block. Once I bought the building for about $18,000, I didn't have any money left. And so I started sweeping the building as a kind of performance. Like, this is performance art. People would come over and I'd start sweeping because the room was free and sweeping was free. It worked out. But we would use the building then to stage exhibitions, small dinners. We found that that building on my block, Dorchester, we now refer to the block as Dorchester Projects, that in a way, that building became a kind of gathering site for lots of different kinds of activity. One house turned into a few houses. And we always tried to suggest that not only is creating a beautiful vessel important, but the contents of what happens in those buildings is also very important. So we were not only thinking about development, but we were thinking about the program, thinking about the kind of connections that could happen between one house and another, between one neighbor and another.
Okay, I apologize for not having the pause button, but as you know, oh, I do have it, sorry. I usually have it for the video, but okay. So right, part two, he was talking about the things that he did, put them in the order in which he did them. And of course, you can pause the video for as long as you need now. Okay, so welcome back. You have unpaused the video and you are ready to check your answers, putting the events in the order in which they happen. And we will check your answers in. All right, so A, just in case I was going really fast, vacant buildings. All right, B, we watched part two. Gates bought the building. Right, I think he said it cost him $18,000. That, I'm sure in Korean won exactly what that is, but he said he didn't have any money left after that. All right, he then renovated the building. One of the things he did, he began to sweep, and he kind of called that performance art because the broom was free, sweeping was free, and people came, right? Okay, so then people started to come, like I said, to Gates's building. He only had the one. Gates used the building to stage exhibitions. And then finally, Gates bought other buildings. Now, it is in the book, but yeah, there was one extra which did not fit here. It was kind of to see how well were you paying attention to what he was saying. So one more time, he bought a building, and so he had no money left, right? Then he renovated the building and also began sweeping as a kind of performance art, so that would be AD. Then people started to come to the building, and then he was making money from that, and so he started buying other buildings. All right, so I'll leave this up for just a second. All right, it should be more than enough time. Plus, it is a video, like I've always said, so you can always just pause it. All right, we're gonna watch part three. Now in part three, you're going to circle what you think is correct. So the Arts Bank project was difficult to finance because one of these, the Arts Bank is now used as a what? Gates is now, well, what's he doing? He's doing this around the country. All right, so here we go with part 3.
In this bank that we call the Arts Bank, it was in pretty bad shape. There were about 6 feet of standing water. It was a difficult project to finance because banks weren't interested in the neighborhood, because people weren't interested in the neighborhood, because nothing had happened there. It was dirt. It was nothing. It was nowhere. And so we just started imagining what else could happen in this building. And so now that the rumor of my block has spread and lots of people are starting to visit, we found that the bank can now be a center for exhibition, archives, music performance, and that there are people who are now interested in being adjacent to those buildings because we brought some heat, that we've kind of made a fire. In some ways, it feels very much like I'm a potter, that we tackle the things that are at our wheel. We try with the skill that we have to kind of think about this next bowl that I want to make. And it went from like bowl to a singular house, to a block, to a neighborhood, to a cultural district, to thinking about the city. And at every point, there were things that I didn't know that I had to learn. So now we're starting to give advice around the country on how to start with what you got, how to start with the things that are in front of you, how to make something out of nothing, how to reshape your world at a wheel or at your block or at the scale of the city. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm sure some of you are already done and you'll probably have to wait the 5 or 6 seconds or so, but for those of you who still need time and you need to pause the video, you can pause the video for as long as you need now. Okay, welcome back. You have unpaused the video or you've been waiting. So let's check your answers in. Okay, so the Arts Bank project was difficult to finance because no one was interested in the neighborhood. And that quote at the beginning on the cover, you heard it here as well. Number 2, the Arts Bank is now used as a place for exhibitions and performances. Gates is now, giving advice to others around the country. All right, so I'll just leave this here for just a second. You can pause, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do. We still have a few more excerpts, pieces of the TED Talk. So they'll be a lot shorter. But since you have the book, you already know. If you go on page 47, you will see what I mean. So the first part is this quote. I believe he said this in part 3, so we just heard it. And I will play it again, fill in the blanks.
In some ways, it feels very much like I'm a potter, that we tackle the things that are at our wheel. We try with the skill that we have to kind of think about this next bowl that I want to make.
All right. I know it's in the back of the book and you can check there, but of course, whatever you do, however you do it, you can pause the video for as long as you need now. Okay. Let's check your answers in. All right, so this is what he said. In some ways, it feels like I'm a potter, that we tackle the things that are at our wheel. We try with the skill that we have to think about this next bowl that I want to make. Okay, I'll just leave this up. I know it's not a lot. So the answers here are try and skill. All right, so if, as you can see on page 47, you don't see it here, you have your book. Now you're going to do some matching, but watching the video. Again, very short. Match the phrases below to make the sentences from his TED Talk. So let's just watch.
It was dirt. It was nothing. It was nowhere. We tricked it out. We made it as beautiful as we could because we brought some heat that we've kind of made a fire. We're starting to give advice around the country on how to start with what you got, how to start with the things that are in front of you.
I know that was fast. And of course, you can pause the video for as long as you need. You can go back, but I can give you a hint. Heat, fire, right? I just gave you one of them. All right. Actually, what I'm going to do here is normally you would have as much time as you need. What I might do is play it one more time.
It was dirt. It was nothing. It was nowhere. We tricked it out. We made it as beautiful as we could because we brought some heat that we've kind of made a fire. We're starting to give advice around the country on how to start with what you got, how to start with the things that are in front of you.
All right. I don't really think you need time, but if you do, of course, pause. But we are going to check the answers in. All right, as a reminder, there are the answers for A, try and skill. All right, it was dirt. It was nothing. It was nowhere. That's actually the first page of this unit, that quote. We tricked it out. We made it as beautiful as we could. And number 3, I kind of gave you the answer there. We brought some heat. You know, fire has heat. We made a kind of fire. How to start with what you got. This is when he said we're now going around the country giving advice. How to start with what you've got, how to start with the things that are in front of you. All right, I'll leave this up for just a second. And I know we're already past the 30-minute mark. That's why I didn't do the first part of the TED Talk, well, at the very start, because I said there was no time. So here we go. All right, so interpreting, look at the diagram. Yeah, what does it show? Correct. Choose the correct option from A, B, or C. Yeah, as a matter of fact, because of time, I will be showing you the answers in all right, so quickly choose the correct option. How Gates's project grew in size. Right, on the bottom there, I have something for you guys to think about for your final group presentation. I'm not going to read it. Okay, I have the countdown here. Don't worry, that was my mistake. But we are going to watch vocabulary in context. So you're going to watch the excerpt. The answers will already be in the video, and then I will show you one more time what the answers are. So let's get to it.
It's a neighborhood that has seen better days. It is not a gated community by far. But I think a lot of our US cities and beyond have the challenge of blight, abandoned buildings that people no longer know what to do anything with. In this bank that we call the Arts Bank, it was in pretty bad shape. There were about 6 feet of standing water. And that there are people who are now interested in being adjacent to those buildings because we brought some heat.
All right, normally I would say you have as much time as you need, but because of time, we're gonna, and the answers are already shown. Here we go. And because the answers were already there, this is just a reminder of what the answers were. Yeah, that's it. I still have the presentation skills up there, just for something you guys to think about, because your final exam will be group presentations. All right, so that we are at the end. That's it. So yeah, the only thing I can say is I'll see you guys in Zoom. Normally I would tell you about your speaking, but as you can see, we're already about 5 minutes over the 30-minute mark. So the only thing I can say is if you would like to know what we're going to be doing in the speaking for this, please go into the class folder and you will see the speaking activity PowerPoint. It is there ready for you guys to look at. And of course, I will explain more in class. But let me put the video back on, just so I can say one thing. See you in Zoom. Bye.